All right, we're about to get into a pretty powerful idea here. One that might just flip how you think about discipline, suffering, even freedom itself. It all boils down to this really unsettling question. What if the biggest thing holding you back isn't out there somewhere, but right inside you?
So let's just kick things off with a pretty bold statement. You don't actually hate discipline. Yeah, I know. That probably sounds completely wrong. I mean, that feeling of dread you get when you have to do something hard, it sure feels like hate, doesn't it? But what if we've just been calling it the wrong thing this whole time?
See, it's this. This is the absolute core of it. You don't hate discipline. You hate losing control. Think about it. Whenever you decide to be disciplined, you're basically telling some part of yourself no. And that backlash, that internal temper tantrum, that's what we feel as pain and resistance.
And this leads to a really strange paradox, doesn't it? We all say we want freedom, but the very second something inside of us gets restricted, even when we know it's for our own good, we immediately label it suffering. How weird is that? It's like we're fighting for freedom with one hand, while using the other to protect the very impulses that are keeping us in a cage.
So that's the big question we've got to ask, right? If discipline feels like you're losing control, well, who's losing it? Or what is losing it? Because it's not the real you. Not the you that wants to get better, that wants to grow. No, it's something else. You know that feeling, right? Every single time you try to start a new habit or make a real change in your life, you feel that pushback, that resistance. And it's so easy to think the world is just against you. But it's not. It's an internal force, a part of you that is literally fighting to keep its grip on you. And it doesn't just resist, it panics. It absolutely freaks out. And why? Well, because its authority is being challenged. Think about it. This part of you has been running the show, calling the shots for a long, long time. And your decision to be disciplined, that's a direct threat to its power. That panic attack it's having, that's the intense discomfort you feel.
So, what's fueling this internal tyrant? It's addiction. And I'm not necessarily talking about drugs or anything. It's an addiction to certain feelings, constant stimulation, total comfort, and that immediate relief from the slightest hint of boredom. Discipline is basically threatening to cut off its supply. And, well, that's exactly why it panics. Okay, and this brings us to a really, really important shift in thinking. We have to change the words we use. That intense feeling, that pain of discipline that makes you want to quit, it's not suffering. It's not. It's something else, something totally different.
Here's the new definition. What you're feeling is withdrawal. Seriously, think of it just like a chemical addiction. You are withdrawing from being dependent on those automatic, knee-jerk reactions and impulses, from giving that controlling part of you whatever it wants, whenever it wants it. That feeling of discomfort, that is the withdrawal.
And once you see it that way, it totally redefines what freedom even means. We usually think of freedom as, I can do what I want. But here's a much deeper idea. True freedom isn't doing what you want. It's the absence of compulsion. It's being free from those automatic urges that are secretly pulling your strings.
So you really have to ask yourself, the next time you think, I'm just doing what I want, is that really you wanting it? Or is it just programming? Is it genuine freedom? Or are you just automatically obeying an impulse without even thinking about it? That's a tough question to sit with for sure. And look, it makes total sense that when you first start, discipline feels like a cage. Of course it does. You're finally putting boundaries on that part of you that's been running wild and causing all sorts of chaos for years. You're finally starting to ignore that voice that used to be the boss.
And trust me, that voice is not going to go quietly. Oh no. When it starts to lose power, it is going to scream. It'll throw everything it has at you. Intense urgency, a wave of anxiety, crippling doubt, anything to try and get control back. This is it. This is the peak of the withdrawal.
So what are you supposed to do when that voice is screaming at you? You do nothing. You just stay with it. You watch the feeling. You acknowledge it, but you don't react. And if you can just hold on and do that, something pretty incredible starts to happen. The urgency, it begins to fade. The noise in your head gets quieter, and the impulse itself starts to lose its power.
So after that internal storm finally passes, what's left on the other side? It's not emptiness, it's space. Like actual mental space. You get room to breathe, room to think, and for maybe the first time, room to actually choose what you do next, instead of just being yanked around by your impulses.
And right after that space, you get clarity.
It's amazing. Once all that noise of compulsion and resistance is gone, you can actually see your goals clearly. You can think straight. You're operating from a place of real intention, not just panic and addiction.
And then, finally, comes stability. You're no longer being thrown around by every little whim and impulse that pops into your head. You're on solid ground. You have a real foundation. You are in control, not that reactive, panicked part of your brain.
And that's the big aha moment, isn't it? The pain you felt was never, ever a punishment for trying to be better. It was just the sound of a power shift. It was the last gasp from the part of you that is no longer in control. So this leaves us with a really practical question to take with you. From now on, when you feel that pain, that urge to just give up, stop asking, why is this so hard? Instead, ask yourself this. Okay, what part of me is absolutely terrified of losing control right now?
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important question of all. Because by just watching that resistance, by not caving in, you're already answering it with your actions. Who's finally in charge here? You are.